So welcome to Satyam. So I'd like to share something which I changed something this morning in the poster. In the Zen zero, I wrote, yes, if you don't hear well, you can come forward. You're the sacredness that nothing can touch. Because vous êtes le sacré que rien ne peut toucher. Because sometimes I feel in Advaita can feel a little bit dry, and this or too much mental, and this what we are prior to any manifestation, what sometimes I call the zero, because it's a zero notion. Inside the zero, nothing can penetrate. So we cannot say anything about the Tao. You understand my English?
Yes.
Yes. It's a French English. So,
yes, so it's easy to understand. We have the same.
Yeah, we're colleagues. So the zero notion that we are, nothing can penetrate, right? So it's easy to see that nothing can fit to describe what we are. The Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao, right? So zero and one, what I've been explaining some time. I may talk about it later, but for some people, 0 and 1 may seem mathematic. So to give this touch of sacredness, because can you imagine what was prior to the God, prior to the Creator, the power who created all that, infinite universes, planets and beyond, all the astral, causal, any planes of consciousness. This God, Creator, came out of that which we cannot describe. How much sacred can be that which we cannot name even? It's just, for me, it's like just mind-blowing. The mind cannot have any idea of what we are. So to be that mystery is just such a grace, just to be that mystery which we cannot describe, and it's maybe we can say the absolute experience beyond any experience which we can have in time and space. But prior to time and space, the absolute experience of what we are, it is so sacred. Sacred means we cannot, inviolable, inviolable in French. So we cannot be raped, or we could say even. Like I was saying to a lady some months back who was raped, and I said, but what you are, because she was feeling very bad. But I said, what you are cannot be raped, what you are cannot be touched. Nothing happened to what you are. And that's your sacredness. It seems that something happened to this one in the dream. But to what you are, nothing can touch. Even the God Creator, the first power, the Word, which we talk about in the Bible, nothing can touch that. It's beyond any. So it's enough to blow, at least my mind, with that, in this dream. So, but to come back to, could you follow me?
Yes.
Yes. English-wise or?
Just like you say, I prefer my.
Yeah. So I will explain a little bit, talk about how I use 0 and 1 to make it clearer, simple. So in my language, 0 is equivalent to the self, to Buddha nature, to the absolute, whatever, to the Tao, right? Any name. You can call it tomato or whatever, but it's maybe
Tomato?
Yes, and the name will not do it anyway. But zero I use in that sense. And whatever came out of the zero, the absolute zero, sacred zero, we could say, then is a one. And the first one, in Advaita, they call it the I awareness, the first I, or so for some people, I call it the zero even prior to awareness, but it's just a question of language, so don't mind. You can take it even if I speak like that. Yes, but you can correct me afterwards, right? No, because here there is two meditation teachers, so yes, and she too. So we can get some information about that. So the first power came out of the absolute. We call it the Word in the Bible. The Word was with God, and the Word in the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God, and the Word was God. So it came in the form first of light and sound. This is what the scientists found in the atoms, in the infinite small. Only light and sound, nothing else. All is vibrating light and sound. So that's the first power who created, so we call it the creative principle or the God power. And then came out the I amness, and then the further identification, I am the body, or any identification. It can be a human body or a god body, like you can be Indra or any gods, whatever. So, because sometimes when we say you are the doer, next time we tell you you are not the doer. So you are the doer is addressed to the one, because there is a feeling of having a free will, right? So I do something. But when you question the existence of I, and you start to see that it's not real, it's an appearance of an I, it's like a phantom I. But you don't need to get rid of a phantom, because it's a phantom I. So if you want to kill it, then you confirm the dream further. You make the dream real. But if you see the time and space as a dream, so I will repeat again what I said about the desert. When you are in the desert, you are thirsty, you want to drink, so you see an oasis, and you try to reach the oasis, and then you see it's not real, there is no water, and further and further. So the same for time and space, tomorrow and there are like oasis. When you reach there, then you see you are here. When you reach tomorrow, you are here. You can never grasp tomorrow or there. It's a mirage oasis light. So if you have keeping this in, not really in mind, but more in a seeing, then whatever happened in the mirage of time and space is a mirage. Any experience. It's not that it is bad, but it is seen as a mirage. And what we are, if you do inquiry about that, you will see that what you are is prior to time and space, because you have to be in order to experience this mirage of time and space. So you are anyway, whether there is a mirage or not. In Sanskrit they call it sat, existence. So you are prior to any mirage or no mirage. Sometimes there might be or might not be, but you are anyway. And that's what we call that. I am that. When people say I am that, or the Tao, or the self, or whatever, which we cannot say anything about it, but we give pointers. So when we put a finger like this, it's a pointer in direction to the moon. But if we stick with words, then we don't get the juice. So it's not about being lost in words, but what the words are pointing to. They are charged with something somehow. So listening, but not getting stuck by I need to understand with the mind. Just being here and understanding, no understanding, is more about the juice, which the words are carrying, pointing to what? To that which is indescribable and that we are.
Juste,
Yes, so any comment or question?
yes, c'est juste, je viens de comprendre quelque chose sur lequel je bute depuis des mois. C'est super comment tu expliques l'histoire du temps.
Tu veux te rapprocher un peu pour qu'on s'entende mieux? You can come closer. Oh, no, with your chair. You don't.
No, no, it's okay. I try it.
You're sure?
Yes,
You can
yes.
bring your
I
chair.
prefer.
Okay. Because of the outer sound. Yes. So, if you want to speak in French and I translate, I don't mind,
Yeah,
as you
maybe,
like.
sometime maybe in French.
Yes.
sometime in
When you
English, because
when it is in French, I will translate.
when I'm emotional, I speak French. Little bit. L'histoire du temps,
The story of time.
je viens de comprendre.
I just understood
Parce que tu l'as expliqué de façon très simple.
because you explained in a simple way.
Je sais pas, c'est la petite clé, là.
So there was a tilt.
Oui, oui, oui. Parce que je m'énervais beaucoup auprès de plein de personnes.
Because I was sometimes upset by around people.
Le truc de dire.
To say that
Il n'y a pas de temps.
there is
Il y a
no
pas de
time.
temps. Ça me rendait dingue.
So she was crazy about that. It was not enough, right? Something not clear enough.
Yes. But it's very simple.
Very simple. The
Yes.
mind make it complicated,
Yes.
but it's very simple. Everything is simple. The mind is like to make it complicated because it doesn't like to be here, so it like to make stories about everything.
Et j'étais beaucoup. I was really in resistance about this, you know, the time and space.
Now you are in eternity. You always have been, but
Yes. But it's important.
yes, to be in eternity, it's important to recognize that you never left eternity.
Yes, exactly.
And this is even in the word eternity, there is a sense of sacredness. I feel, and it's so. That's why even there is nothing. Even when you are interested in Advaita, wisdom, knowledge, nothing wrong with temple, and I'm more getting that now because this sacredness is what we are. Sacred in the sense that nothing can rape it, kill it, burn it, cut it. Like the screen that Ramana is speaking about. The self is the screen, and a movie is shooted on the screen. There is a fire, but the screen is not burned because it's just a movie, right? And you know that. Yes. So, and a war is going on in the movie, and nothing happened for the screen. Nothing happened. It is how much we are safe. We are the ultimate safest place ever. Nothing can touch it. We are the sacredness itself. And it's just mind-blowing to be that. Is that not marvelous? Wonderful. So, what do we need? This beggar, I call this the one, the illusion of the phantoms, the one.
What?
This beggar, un mendiant.
Okay.
Because otherwise you say, oh, I am awakened, you know, or I'm enlightened. But if you keep calling this one a beggar, the one, the zero which I am is the most sacred, which I cannot describe, speak about. But this one is still a beggar and will stay a beggar forever. It cannot go out of the will because of the will of samsara, because it belongs to the will. So the beggar will stay a beggar and will never be enlightened or awakened. In the dream, yes, but for the zero, it's nothing. It's not even happening. It's only happening in the dream. So thanks God that we cannot make it, because we are already that. So we don't need to make it. We are already this sacred since ever. So
Je suis un peu frustré parce que je me croyais meilleur en anglais, je comprends pas tout.
So you can ask question.
Ah oui, même les zéros, enfin ce que tu disais au début.
But you can ask question and then I can repeat. You can ask in French. And
Je comprends les mots, mais peut-être pas la phrase ou oui.
we are, our nature, I call this zero, the notion, la notion zéro, parce que rien ne peut pénétrer la notion zéro. Nothing can penetrate that. So it means no idea can go there in zeroness, right? It's just a kind of concept, but this is a last concept because no concept can go in the no concept space, right?
Le concept zéro, ça tu veux dire au commencement de l'univers, etc.
Yeah. Prior to that, avant ça.
Oui, d'accord.
Avant n'importe quelle idée. Prior to any idea.
Okay.
So that's easy. In the Tao taking, we say the Tao that can be named is not the eternal Tao. That you understand? Yes. So, because if you try to describe, then the words belong to a system which cannot describe what we are. It's like if you want to, somebody asks you to measure, take a measurement of the Indian Ocean, and you take a decimeter, an instrument, a soul instrument, then you would say, no, I cannot, sorry, I cannot. Why? Because it's not adapted for that. So words are not adapted for this sacredness of what we are, this mystery. We are the ultimate mystery that cannot know itself with the mind. We can only be that mystery, and but the mind will never be able to. That's why it's so well kept. It's a well kept secret. Sacred secret. And then in that you can feel bhakti, this bhakta. In this word sacred, secret, you feel that, if you think about a candle or something special that the mind cannot grasp, then is out. You will continue to try to grasp and understand because it's the nature of the one to try to understand and to seek. So we don't need to stop the one seeking, understanding and this. But we might, as a zero, recognize what we are. Just the zero recognizing itself by itself for itself, as Ramana is saying. I'm speaking too much, so please ask anything or not.
Non, j'ai l'impression de comprendre
You understand?
le général, mais ouais.
The main thread. Yes. Anything?
I don't have any question.
Not now. I had before you speak, but not now.
Yeah, sometimes it's killing the question.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's fun,
Yes. It's like a kind of vortex. And this Shiva fire or something, this is like the absolute neti-neti. The zero notion is like the Shiva neti-neti fire, Agni, whatever you can call it, and anything try to penetrate from any side. Question comes, but if they are there, they need to be put. But the more this fire is strong, then you see that it's hopeless. The mind is hopeless. And this hopelessness is the best, because then you can relax in what you are, in your...
Sans espoir, en place.
Yes, sans espoir. You can relax in your perfection, we can say. It does not need anything. We are the attention that does not need attention. We are the loves which does not need love. So if we say, what is attention? Attention, relatively, is a byproduct of the absolute attention. So relative attention will go from one point to another point, from subject to object. And subject are at the periphery of the circle, right? So when we learn meditation, the base of meditation is to withdraw attention from the object to the subject. This is a common ground of meditation practice. So to the subject. But then, because the attention is scattered, l'attention est dispersée. So to have less clouds and to be more focused, first step is to withdraw attention to the center. Center is I, the subject. And when we are there, what we do with this I? So we question by a seeing, we question the existence of the I. Not by understanding. So when we say am I or who am I, we question the existence of the I. But prior to that, we may need to, if there is too many clouds, we might need to question our beliefs. Is that true? That's what Byron Katie is doing. Is that true? Is that whatever belief pattern is there, is that true? We question it. But then when you are some kind of clearer, who is asking this question? Is that true? So this further inquiry to the center. I is the center of all the projection, the moving, right? So you bring back attention there and question, who is this I? What is this I? But it's like a Zen koan. It's not a question that needs a mental answer. It's more, you ask a question and you stay there in a whatever, non-answer space. And then you might notice that the split of the subject-object feeling to be separate may disappear. Or the seer seeing what is seen. So the schizophrenic mind tend to unsplit. And then, no separation. This is what we call I amness. Pas de séparation. Split, c'est séparé. Sujet, objet. Il y a une séparation. But when you bring back your attention to what we call inquiry, self-inquiry, the split mind seems to disappear. The sense of separation, which is the cause of suffering. Because we feel separate, so we feel needy, we feel we need attention, we need love, we need that, we need ice cream, we need so many things. So the root cause is a sense of separation, but if you go further, from where it came from. So prior to ego, if you continue to practice self-inquiry, then the sense of I will be more like a I. So first, to come back, self-inquiry, you need to grasp the sense of I in any way, physically, emotionally, or mentally. And you hold on to anything, sense of I, ego, right? How do I feel my I? And then by doing self-inquiry, this is what Ramana called putting the stick into the fire, and the stick may disappear into the fire. But then if you do that, you may see that the sense of I is more like a sense a Shruti I. I call it Shruti I, which is more like a not personal I. It's more like a vibration, a Shruti I. So and this is what some people call eye awareness, or the word, the first lingam which came out of the absolute, or the self, or the zero notion. So, and this, what is interesting, this all what I say now is in the dream, because the self does not need any inquiry, anything, is perfect in itself, the Buddha nature, right? But for the one may need some information about what to do in the dream. So I like to speak from zero, but to the one also, like you do when you teach meditation, but to a further point, maybe closer to the center. So when people ask about, as I did myself, about wounds, what to do with wounds, les blessures. Les blessures de rejet, rejection, or abandonment, or trahison, whatever. So there is a book, very famous book of the 5 wounds.
Les 5 blessures de Lys Bourbeau.
Yes, very famous book. So she says there is 5 wounds, emotional wounds. But what is the mother wounds of these 5 wounds? So I was inquiring into that, and I'm not the first one, I'm not the last, but the mother wound came from the first appearance of I, of the I awareness. So within this first God creator I awareness came out of the absolute. Then the sense of being separated is already there as a seed. So the first fear, if you feel separate, then you have the fear of losing anything. Because if you make one with another one, then the fear is automatically there. So the fear came with the first one, the first appearance. Qu'on appelle le verbe dans la Bible. The word. So it is ingrained as a seed within, and then when we recognize that, the existential fear is part of the nature of the I, of the awareness, of the consciousness. So you may notice that the tendency of the mind is to run away from that original fear or wound, because it's not pleasant. So the mind is always running after feeling good, enjoyment, and running away from what is not feeling nice, right? But by running after this, our shadow is always following, because it's yin-yang, no? They are both part of the game, of the dream. So as much we run after the good, the bad is following. So the treatment, if we could say, is to not run away from anything. We are here in this, we are as eternity ourselves, or the sacred space, or whatever you can call it, absolute. And there is no movement in that. Movement is only in time and space. But prior to time and space, no movement. No idea of coming and going, of being born or dying. This is only in the mind realm, what they call Brahman, time and space. But prior to that, there is no idea of being born or dying, or a beginning or a end. So if we stay in our eternity, in the fearlessness of our eternity, sans peur, dans notre l'éternité sans peur que nous sommes, then we might dare to look eye to eye the original fear of existing. Because as long as I believe that I exist, then fear is there and pain is there. The pain of existing. So existential wound. This is an existential wound which has to be there in this creation. But by running away from it, we confirm the dream more and more. But by... Sorry. Yes.
If we are, je parle en français.
Tu peux parler en français.
C'est vraiment, on est dans l'instant présent, on peut penser à ça. Est-ce que du coup on vit, si on est forcément sans peur, quand il y a de la peur, c'est forcément qu'on est...
If we live in the moment present, there is no fear, this is what you say.
Quand on est dans la peur, c'est souvent qu'on anticipe quelque chose, qu'on projette quelque chose qui pourrait se passer, etc. Et que du coup on n'est plus dans le présent.
Yes, if we are not in the present, then maybe there is no fear. But the present moment is not enough. The power of now is not enough, because what will you do when you are in deep sleep? Because sometimes you are present, sometimes you are absent. Mm-hmm. And this is the nature, what you are is prior to presence and absence. Mm-hmm. So the power of now is good, but not enough, because you cannot stay always there. Mm-hmm. So in absence, you have to be yourself too. Mm-hmm. You have to be prior to this presence or absence game, right? Mm-hmm. What? Oh, I thought you have a question. Ah, beaucoup de Shakti. Stop. Ça s'amuse. La Shakti, ça aime s'amuser. You follow?
Oui, enfin, forcément, on a des moments, on ne peut pas être présent, tu veux dire, on ne peut pas être absolument présent tout le temps. Il y a forcément des.
We cannot always be present because in absence we are not present. Right? So, because in the game of presence there is still a controller, subtle controller, and that is the trouble. But what you are is prior to any control. So you can try to stay in I amness, in the power of now, but how long can you stay there? It may shift, and that's why, and you can go to higher awareness also, but this is not stable because they are states of consciousness. They are not there is no final realization. What we are is prior to any state or realization. And that's a gift because we don't need to achieve anything, d'accomplir, ou d'atteindre un but. We don't need to attain a goal to be what we are. We are here and now. We are in spite of presence.
I'm always like in that when I read, I try to be in maybe someone else or somebody better.
Yes.
In the future.
This is a tendency of the one. But the zero that you are does not need it. If you see, you don't need to stop the one because you have no power. If you do self-inquiry correctly, you will see that I is a phantom, and together with it, you will see that the free will is also a phantom. There is no free will. If there is no I, there is no free will. I mean, there is a phantom I.
Free will?
Libre arbitre. So free will is seen simultaneously. When I is seen as a phantom, free will is seen as a phantom as well. So who has a free will? A phantom I. So there is no actual free will. So everything is happening by itself. Life is living itself by itself. But there is an imposter, the I, who believe is controlling. But we try to demystify this imposter by watching. Right? In a seeing, but a seeing which is prior, this is self-recognition from 0 to 0, right? So it's not a game of controlling awareness or things like that, and to stay always. No, it's deeper than deeper, we can say. It's not about, because in self there is no higher or deeper. So it's prior to any notion of deeper or lower or better or less. The self has no idea about any words, we can say. Comparison, change or differences. It's like words which are appealing to the domain of time and space. Change, difference. Difference is in space and change is in time. So again, but for what we are does not understand what is change and difference. Just when you go into the mind, then you take a costume of mind, and then you see through change and differences. But when you don't use that, you are not in the split mind, then no difference, no change. When you are even in I amness, there is no time. What we call I amness, je suis. So there is still space, we call like space-like I amness, but no time. Time disappears. But still somehow a notion of space is there, right? In the what we call the power of now. This is how I see it, at least. But then if you further inquiry, then space is seen also as a phantom. And together, destiny also is seen as a phantom. Otherwise, destiny is like just all events are already there. We call this Akashic records. So they are in the sky. Akashic means in the sky. So they are all recorded, all the movies, the life of the different souls, and they are already made. Every movement of the mind, any decision, anything is pre-written in the script. This is what is said about karma, Akashic records, right? Les annales Akashic. So it is said that in the causal plane, all DVD, every soul pick up a DVD, choose. It's a story to understand. Pick up a DVD and choose a life, but which is already made. So it seems to have, when we come into this actor, that we have a free will, but all is pre-written. But to have the sense of that the movie is real, then we cut our awareness of knowing that the movie is already shooting. So it seems so real. Oh, I choose this, that. The actor is part of the dream. But what we are is prior to that. It's just Shiva dreaming to be an actor and separated. Romeo, Juliet, I want you, I love you, I need you. God, where are you? I lost you, I lost myself. All these stories is part of the dream. But we are, the beauty of it is that what we are is not in any trouble in any way, not touched. That's why I like to call it sacred today. I don't know how long. It is good to change also. To make some fresh rose perfume or something. Yes. Any question, comment, anything? No?
I don't know, my mind is like...
Blank.
Yeah. Tu enregistres toi seulement?
No, I put on YouTube.
Ah,
Not all, but
d'accord.
when it's yes. So some I put
Soul.
here will be in audio, and what I do in my home because it's easier in video.
Recorded with
Video.
Yes.
So I mix audio, video. So you on the channel,
Mm.
you can go on the channel and it will be there probably if it works. But it should not be.
Tu choisis.
Yeah, but mostly I put them, and maybe later on I may cancel whatever. But for now there's not too many, so maybe 20 or 30 or something like that. 20. So yes. But after I may delay this or that. We'll see. So no question. Maybe some answers.
Well, maybe question, but not, I don't want to use that.
Not recorded.
Yes.
Oh, personal.
I don't know if it's personal, but I don't.
Nothing. You know, I can tell you something. Nothing is personal.
Yes, I know. But
It seems to be personal for the owner.
yes.
But the owner, when it is questioned and seen, especially satsang is a good place to undo this or to trigger this sense of ownership by putting our stuff out. Usually we think, oh, people may see this or hear that, but we are only gaining somehow because we see that it's not personal. Nothing is personal, it seems. Because it seems there is many wounds. But if you, blessure. But if you go at the roots, you see there is only one wound, and you see that we are not separate, and there is only one wound. The first eye came with the first wound, and this is this same wound, the existential wound. So what is personal in that? And this story, how many people are killed or raped or this or that or feeling lonely or abused or it's repeated infinite of time. Nothing is personal. So if we are not shy, it will make us less personal somehow and less burden on the shoulders. But if we want to kill them, then it's like the guy in the train who has a suitcase on or something on the head, and somebody tell him, why do you have your suitcase on your head? He said, it's my suitcase, I need you. But the guy tell him, if you put it on the floor, it will not change anything for the train. He said, no, it's my suitcase. But yeah, it start to have pain. Then at the end he understands and he put it on the train. Because there is no difference for the self. For life, whether the weight is here or here, for life it makes no difference. But we still want to carry it and keep it as personal. So we want to burn ourselves because we are attached to our problems. Because without problem, who would you be? Who would you be without your story and wounds? So I need my wound to exist. This is the first I. Without wound, I don't exist. The I is seen as. So if I dare to question the existence of the I dare to question the existence of the wound. And it is seen as a phantom wound and a phantom I. And from the self, experiencing that does not mind that there is a good or bad or this, there is not a running away from that. Laurence.
Oui, je comprends bien ce que tu veux dire, mais je trouve que je ne veux pas être enregistré. Je ne poserai pas
Je
de
comprends.
questions.
I understand. Yes.
Je
No, but I
préfère
was making a point
te poser la question en privé.
privately. Yes, no problem. I understand. I was not trying to push you, but to.
C'est pas du tout un truc émotion. Enfin, je veux dire de blessure.
It's not emotional. It's not a
Mais
wound.
je sais pas. Tu sais,
You don't feel like speaking about it.
je trouve que de mettre des choses sur le net, on ne sait jamais là où ça va.
Yes.
We
that
never know where it's going. Everything we put on
Internet.
on the web, we never know where.
Yeah, but anyway, you are free, or at least you think you are free to decide that you don't want to speak about that, for example. It's fine. No, I have no problem. You have any problem?
No, I don't have.
No, but that she don't say. We are all okay. You say, you don't say, no problem. We love you anyway.
Je me disais depuis le temps que j'essaie de méditer un petit peu ou
So I was thinking, since the time I was meditating,
que finalement mon mental il est toujours aussi agité.
my mind is always agitated.
Mais je suis moins pris par les choses, mais c'est vrai que le mental il pense toujours autant de choses, j'ai l'impression que
My mind is still thinking a lot, but I'm less identified.
Toujours autant à repenser à plein de choses.
So if there is two things. If you are here, it's more a space for the somehow zero, little bit for the 1, 2, but here you have meditation teacher. This can be useful for the 1 to have let thought and this, but here it's not the subject. We don't need to get rid of the thoughts or anything. Anything is fine. But on the top of that, as a sheriff for the 1, if you want to practice meditation, to have less thought or this or whatever, to be more peaceful. But this is a temporary peace. The peace of the 1 which is fragile. So you see the difference? But they are not opposite. You can see that what you are is already perfect and does not need anything. But the 1 might feel like to meditate, to make it less cloudy or less thoughts, less stress or all that. This practice. It's a practice. So it's like going to the restaurant and eat, to the toilet and poo. Or it's not different for the self. There is no difference between anything happening in the dream. Difference is only for the mind in the dream. But they are not contradictory. Some people speak about Advaita and say, don't practice, don't do anything because you are that already. I say, why? If the 1 want to, as long as you are aware of that, what you are is already, you're already that, then you don't mind doing anything for the one. The one might do anything because anyway it is seen that the one has no free will and it's happening by itself. So there is no really, for me, there is no really question now. It's like whatever happens, happens. And sitting in the temple, meditating, doing self-inquiry, why not? But for what I am, it does not change anything. You see the two levels somehow? We had to speak with words. It seemed to separate, but just to...
Pas sûr de tout comprendre, ouais.
Pour le 1, les pratiques, la méditation, avoir moins de pensées, c'est plus pour le 1 qui est sorti du 0, c'est-à-dire la personne, l'âme ou la personne. Mais pour ce que tu es, l'être est déjà l'être, il n'a besoin de rien. Tu vois. You understand French, Italy?
Some words, yeah, long words, yes.
Yes. Is it any? You can correct me.
No, just I would like if you are okay to tell some words about your sadhana. I don't know.
If I tell my...
Yes, you, because I don't know.
Ah.
I don't know.
I would be
Satyam.
interested.
You also. Je me demande s'il veut dire quelques mots sur son cheminement.
D'accord, ouais.
C'est ok. Parce que, tu vois, ça clarifie aussi.
So first I was... when I was child, I had some interesting dream, like we can say teaching dream, but which I did not understand. One dream, and it's like two main things. Simple things. They are very simple but very important somehow. One was that I was reading Chinese astrology when I was a teenager, and I opened a page. There was the time and space in the mental way, occidental way, with past, present, future on a line, linear like this. And then I was reading, they were explaining it's like that and this. And next page I opened and it was round, and it was said, oh, but in China it's seen as an eternal present. And when I saw the picture, my mind freaked out. Mon mental, I think the whole night I was really disturbed by that seeing, because for the structure of the mind, that if you really see it and it kills time and space like that, it's very strong. So it was very strong, but after it came back, the mind is there and this. So this was one thing, but I did not. It was just an experience, and then long after, maybe 10 years later, I was interested in spirituality, but not before. But I had another dream, also, the dream, which was very powerful, still vivid when I speak about it. I was near my parents' house, and outside on the grass, and there was a beast, a dog, like a terrible animal, but in fire. And I was trying to destroy it with fire, with a chalumeau, with a lance, like that. And the more I was trying to kill it and to burn it, the more it was bigger and bigger and terrible. And then it was very printed into my psyche, this dream. And then I woke up, I guess. But afterwards, I also really saw the meaning of the symbolic or somehow, that this devil trying to kill any other devils will never work, because this devil is this beggar, or is a person trying to kill other devils, because it will never work. And the more you try to kill the controller outside, the more it is there. But when you understand that the first devil, the controller, is I, and you start to stop throwing your garbage outside and take your responsibility and eat your own garbage. It's not pleasant. When you have emotions, anger, sadness, or whatever, we tend to vomit out on others because we cannot hold it, stay with it. So the beast is vomiting out, right? But that is trying to, but it's not working. It's releasing something for some time. But what we do when we do that, we put responsibilities on, we confirm the objects, the existence of the outer object or people. But when it is seen, say, oh, it's coming from here. What if I stay here and stop running away from that, whatever I feel, sadness, depression, anger, or whatever. So that was the dream, somehow, that you cannot kill the devil. The idea même to kill it is confirming the dream. Anyway, so that was some experience I had when I was teenager, and then 10 years, so some years back, some years after, because I was in my mood was when I was like maybe 18, something like that. I was feeling the creation so bad. So I was thinking, if there is a God, I don't want to hear about him, because if I would have made the world, it would be much better. It's such a terrible world, with all this misery, war. So I was thinking myself to be better than that. So from that I was in this nearly punk, no future, and rock band and whatever go with that. I don't need to describe. But it was like a no future. But this sense was already something, the right direction somehow, because it's right. So, and then some years later, the first girlfriend I met, I stayed with, a long-term relationship. In 92, she introduced me first to Tai Chi and spirituality and books, and then I was starting. And then, so I came to India 2 years later, year or so, Rishikesh and so on, and Ramana Maharishi. And then some years back, after years of Tai Chi, intense practice of Tai Chi meditation, without a master without a guru. I had a teacher for Tai Chi in France, but meditation on my own. And in 97, I was initiated in this inner light and sound meditation. It's like 20 years ago. And so I left everything, Tai Chi, and it was just meditation on inner light and sound. So it's not something you hear music outside. You're connected with the power, the creative power in the form of light and sound. So I was practicing. I started already with few hours a day, then I was meditating like 8 hours average daily, because I was very much pushing like this. I was using whatever I learned with Tai Chi to push, to use that will, and to meditate. You know that. Mm. And then I started to preach also in the name of the Guru, to give initiation in the name of the Guru. I was just a representative. So the Guru was like that. And then he died in 2005, and there was a successor, some stories there, and I was really deceived by this number of things I saw about power, money, and always sex, and always the same stories. And then so for 1 year I was without a teacher of Saint Mat, of this practice. But then I met in 2012 Ishwar Puri, who is still alive. He's 91, he's a teacher of an Indian a master of Saint Mat. And this meeting with him was a link, bridge back to Advaita and to the universal teaching. Because he told me, after 1 year I met him, he told me, which was a kind of shooing. I told you that last time. You don't mind I repeat?
No, that's okay.
He said, he told me in private, you have done many things in past life and in this life. He said, but what if from today you say, I don't do anything, I don't go anywhere, I'm done. I let my body mind do whatever they have to do according to their destiny, but I'm done, I don't move. So for me this is same as the real Advaita, practical Advaita, not mental Advaita. I am that. The movie is going on, but I am that. I never moved. Nothing happened for what I am. So it joined back to Advaita somehow. And another time he told me also in another private meeting, I asked him, do I do a mistake in the meditation practice or something? That was about 5 years ago or something. And he did not answer, he just laughed and laughed and laughed, and he said, at the end he said, there is no mistake. He looked at me and said, there is no mistake. So no mistake, no free will.
Yes.
No free will. Mistake is only as a doer you do mistake. But when you see the doership as a fraud, then what? No mistake. It's a mistake for the one, but for what I am, it's just a joke. No mistake. Everything is perfect. The imperfection is seen as perfect. And then it's like samsara is seen as nirvana, imperfection is seen as perfection. And then this is Advaita, non-duality. It is seen as not separate. And then where do we go now? Wherever the body will go, it will go.
So you stop practicing?
No, I mean it's different. I sit sometimes, but I don't push and practice 8 hours a day. I'm done with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can sit, but it's not for a long time like before. But I've been in a process in a few years of letting go discipline and controlling and deciding what to do. This was a kind of process of letting go of controlling anything.
Yes.
So
it's necessary.
yes, so I was no discipline.
After years of meditation.
Yes.
And,
Maybe nearly 20 years of discipline and this, then experimenting the non-do, somehow life living itself and not knowing what will happen next in the next minute. So, but I don't mind sitting, doing self-inquiry, eating an ice cream or whatever. It's yes, all. And I also don't pretend to be awakened or enlightened or something like that. This devil is still there, and but it's seen as a phantom, and the sense of I also, and vasanas are there. Maybe much less than before, because by stopping to run away, vasana seems to be dissolved. So, but still. Some are there, but I've it's fine. Even some time back, not long ago, 1 or 2 years ago, I would not have even done some talks like this because I was not clear. I was still something was there, a sense of I have to be perfect, or seeing like a projection. But now I see that imperfection is perfect. So what? You don't need to wait to go to heaven. So you don't need to get moksha. Moksha will never come. Moksha will never come. If it's not here, it's nowhere. There's a song I sent to Vishwapuri when I met him about a Pakistani singer. And the lyrics are Itiniyi Kitiniyi. And it means if not here, it's nowhere. Is the Buddha nature that you are is not here now, it's nowhere. So you will never reach. So you are that now, and don't grasp anything that the mind is saying about it, commentating, because the commentator is there always, commentating about, no, I'm not yet there, or I need to be more pure, or this, or whatever the mind will say. You don't mind, but you don't buy it. Buy. You don't buy in the supermarket of thoughts. The mind will tell you, because it needs to maintain its own I existence, the ego existence, need to maintain himself. So he try to. It's a survival system. So to survive, he has to tell you that no, you are not that or whatever. So yes, it is his duty. So he's doing his job very well. So thanks to him, it's like the mind is a perfect bodhisattva who is telling you where to not put your attention. So thanks, it's all bodhisattva everywhere. All triggers are bodhisattva telling you where not to put your attention. Not by anything. So then checkmate. Checkmate.
Checkmate, yeah.
Checkmate. Yes. And even if you forget, because you may go back to identification or some vasanas or whatever, but then what you do when it happens? So if that happens here, for me, then if I go back, it happened to go back to the dream, when I aware of it, say, oh, I dreamed, but no judgment, no comment. I mean, just here. Oh, it's like when you felt asleep and you dreamt, and when you come back, say, oh, I dreamed. That's all. So the same. You don't need to believe that it's wrong, that you went back into. Now I feel, in my experience, is less and less and less that going back into the dream, in the identification. But if it's happened, fine, why not? And when you just notice it, it's part of the. It's like having no preference to shift from any state. Identification, I amness, or higher awareness, whatever state, or samadhi, why not? Samadhi, ice cream, this, that, it's a shift. But nothing, no state is stable. Maybe you can stay in, there is
No
story.
state is stable.
Stable.
Yes.
There is a story of a yogi or somebody like that in India, in North India, and it is said he was meditating since 500 years. He was in deep samadhi since 500 years. And then a test was sent. He heard a sound of a gling gling, on the ankle, a girl dancing like this. And he said, no, I should not open my eyes, I'm in deep samadhi, all this, so many years. And then again, ting, ting, and finally opened the eye a little bit, he looked, oh my God, no, I should not look at that. And then he looked again a little more, and then the story says that they had many children. He could not.
Excellent.
So 500 years lost like that.
Oh my God.
There's many stories like that, because my previous teachers, they have Indian teachers, they have a lot of stories which are written in books and like that. But it doesn't matter if it's true or not true. It's just to express that no state is permanent. Only what you are, in spite of any state, is omnipresent. Omnipresent means prior to presence or absence, and eternal. No beginning and no end. But all else, with whatever we achieve, it's transitory. But we don't need to mind to be that it is transitory, but being aware that what we are is not touched by anything.
Yeah, okay, I understand, but maybe not to forget who we are.
But even when you forgot, when you are in
because
absence,
in my case, you
Yeah.
know, sometimes I forgot during a long time, like 1 month, 2 months. So, yeah, that's strange, and it's worse and worse.
you forget. You
Who
are,
I am,
you forget. But then, do you think you are not when you forget?
I don't know. I forgot.
But how can, when you forget, there must be. You have to be in order to forget. How is it possible to forget if you are not? To be is prior to
Yes,
forgetting.
sure.
So even if you forget, you are. So why do you mind? You have been dreaming for 2 months. Then, did it affect what you are? That's as simple as that. Part of the dream is that you went for 2 months in forgetfulness, right? You understand?
Yes, yes.
But for what you are, it doesn't make a difference. So if you see that, it's not. But the controller would like that the movie is different. That instead of 2 months, it should be 1 minute or
Yes.
whatever. But you are not controlling
I am
the
not
movie.
what-
Controlling the movie. The controller think he is controlling, but when you see the fake controller, you have no choice. These 2 months was pre-designed, and so just relax in what you are and see that the movie is shooting. And now, being what you are is it will always be that, in spite of whatever dream you have. You're not what you are is not affected by that dream.
Yes, it's true.
Then the real compassion, even if I see somebody suffering in the surface of the ocean, I know that what you are, the sacredness of what you are is not touched. It's just dreaming that is a nightmare or in a forgetfulness. Right? So what? You see, you have been dreaming, now you are aware that it was a dream.
Yeah, now I see the mindset. Yeah, it is not like it has to be, you see, something like that.
The mind will comment, always
Yes,
comment.
Yes.
But what can we do, really?
Yes.
We have no power. We are totally powerless. And we, in this hopelessness of being without any power to do anything, then the movie is shooting by itself. And then the 2 months, what is it in eternity? 2 months. Can you measure how much it is? For eternity is nothing. 2 months. It does not even exist. These 2 months. But it is experimented by the dreamer as real as 2 months. Like this seems really hard and real, right? But even the scientists say that it's only light and sound vibration, but it appears to be hard. And these 2 months is like this. They appear to be hard, but it's empty. Empty. So it's an appearance. And as I say regularly, the assumption that we make is to take the appearance for real. So from we say because it appears to be real, then it is real. This is a wrong assumption, and that's where we are. We make the dream real by making this assumption. But when you question that statement, what appear to be real, is it really real? So the science even itself reply, no, these 2 months are like this. Appear, yes. But I agree that it appears real and suffering is there, or feeling, or whatever, identification.
Yeah, it's why I'm in India now.
Yes.
I
But for the one, so we cannot touch what we are, but for the one, self-inquiry, the more you put attention here, this identification will melt somehow. Because we go further in the dream because identification is still strong. But the more we inquire, the less identification will be there. And it will be the sense of ownership is melting. Maybe coming back, melting, whatever. And all this appear in the dream. But it seems real. I totally agree because I also have been experimenting it. So it's seems really real. And time and space. And 2 months also. Very solid.
Yeah.
You understood? 50%.
Yes. See?
But you see, the words are not so important. the juice, or we can say, is more important than the words. So sometimes people just come to that song and just don't understand or don't listen the words. Listen, but not trying to understand in the mind. Oh, what is it? No, something is there. Something like self to self talk or 0 to 0, we can say. Like you said, or Shakti, or I don't know what. When you felt something is going on. You don't know what, but something. And here in Aruchana, it is intensified also. So when we do self-inquiry, first it can feel like fire. This if you do self-inquiry. No, I don't. Not in your case, but in general. So to be in the presence of this mountain tend to intensify everything. Any question? Oh. You can ask in French. Or in Spanish.
Japanese?
Yeah, as you like. You can speak any language. We don't need to understand. Douglas?
Okay, I'll ask. In your experience to get here,
get here, what do you mean?
Oh well, to become a teacher. I mean,
I don't consider myself as a teacher, but
okay, but to be more evolved than I am, that's enough for my question.
More able?
You're more evolved than me. I'll ask
no,
the
I don't feel like
question,
that.
You'll understand.
Yes.
So the point is,
So your point of view, but from my point of view, there is no difference between what you are and what I am. There is total evenness.
okay.
No teacher, no teaching, no student.
Well,
You see from this, you see that, but from here, I don't see that.
Okay. Well, anyway, the question is, in my experience, the basic nature of the mind is it still wants to fill any gap. So now I don't have as much to think about. If I'm peaceful, it makes me tired. So whenever there's a gap, it always fills the space. So now that's why I'm asking you. I say, is this still your experience? You know?
That there is, like you?
Yeah, that the mind always wants to fill any gap. You know, so if I don't have any problems, it's usually a problem. If I'm peaceful, the mind comes with a problem. But if there's no problems now, it just makes me want to sleep. This is every satsang, and I don't need much sleep. So is this the... Oh wow.
Yes, Peacock is coming. Yes.
Oh, yeah,
Maybe that is symbolic. It's
we are
filling
very
the
lucky.
space.
Yes.
So beautiful.
Aunad Shala.
Yeah.
So we are 5 now. So maybe you just want to attend that song at all.
Le symbolique avec la queue comme ceci,
I never read the beautiful.
c'est le lien entre le divin et l'humain.
Beautiful, huh?
It's an amazing color of blue.
Yeah.
My God.
So if we had a video, it's rare so close like this.
Yeah, he's not afraid of us. And we are not afraid of him.
Maybe it'll go right round like the circle in your poster, yeah?
You see the sacredness?
Yes.
It's funny because I had this insight
Just
this
when
morning.
you speak about the empty space, if
Yeah,
I
that's
well,
something
well
that's
understood,
to fill.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's even
That's
that.
nice.
You see? So did you get an answer
I get an answer.
What
it can
do
be
you-
beautiful.
or not?
Yeah, well,
Whatever.
I was talking about it as if it's only a problem. So it can be beautiful.
It can be anything, but you don't mind. Because you have no mind, so you don't mind. So whatever comes on. Now that I see this machine, this shit factory, as Nisargadatta call it, I just see it. I mean, whatever. I don't try to control attention. This all the game we do usually when you practice meditation and this. Maybe sometimes little bit when you feel scattered or something, but mostly it's like attention can goes anywhere. As Carl said yesterday, attention can goes. Or some days I was there. Attention, when you see that there is no actual free will, then attention, who is the owner of the attention? Who is the owner? So attention is going anywhere. So who is the one who wants to control if there is a gap, what should come in or not? This is a little Hitler, as Carl said.
A little Hitler, yes.
Yes, the controller is there, want to manage everything and to control everything. But this controller is fake if you look well. It's all happening by it's fake. The controller is part of the dream. But from prior to the dream, you can see the controller is in the script.
Okay.
So if you look as the controller from the ownership space, you can control, you're stuck in the dream. But if you look from prior to the dream, the controller is seen as part of the script. Then you don't mind the attention going anywhere. You saw what I
Yes, I
said?
I follow.
That is very much that. So anything happening in this is a controller, but it is seen as part of the script. Then why not? Whatever. I let myself do funny things on this mind just to see. It's like a child by itself. Let the child see by itself how far it can go. This fire, it is burning, yes. Try if you want. It burns, you know.
Okay, yeah.
So let the mind do anything. Otherwise, if you stop it with a control, it will be somehow frustrated or something. Let go to any extent. It might not be for everybody what I said. I just speak maybe for you, but yes, there's no limit. No limit. See how much the child can go, how far it can go, how much it can burn itself. But if you see by itself that it is burning, then it will stop. But if it's not seen, it will always say, maybe I'm not going, but maybe there is something there. Maybe. Yeah. It's like instead of preventing yourself to see things as they are, you don't mind seeing the worst and the best. Just see it's like this fire wants to demystify, you know. I'm speaking about the one in the dream, to demystify the nature of things. All the great seekers like Buddha or whoever, they had this fire to demystify the nature of things. But if you don't dare to look straight to things, then you cannot demystify. You always look aside or something like this. I look very straight. I look at things, but I don't want to see that or this or that. But if you really, like Buddha, no, I don't mind seeing anything. I want to demystify any fakeness, and you see that everything is fake. Everything, and the controller includes the ownership and the controller. And then you don't mind that there is a controller, but because you see it's a phantom controller, and you cannot stop it. So you need another control to want to stop the controller.
Okay, yeah.
Another subtle controller would stop the controller. But you see as a phantom controller, and you don't need to stop anything. You watch the movie and the movie is done. Then the biggest relaxation to be what you are, you cannot avoid. Being hopeless because you can't do anything. I can't do anything. you. Oh.
Je suis en train de me dire que finalement, que j'aime bien être en Inde, parce que j'ai l'impression que je vois des choses
I like to be in India. To like to be in India.
Des choses, des réactions que j'ai souvent, que je vois en grand ici, que je vois très bien, que des choses que j'aurais à changer.
Some patterns or reactions which I have.
Je vois ce que j'ai à changer, finalement.
I see what I have to change.
Quand tu parles, tu dis que c'est peut-être pas forcément moi, je suis pas forcément.
Yes, it's for the one. This is for whatever you need to change is for the one, but for what you are, the essence, we can say, or there is nothing to change. But for the one, it appears it has to change something. And yes, if I need to poo, I will not stay sitting here. I will go to the toilet, right? So I as a one, it seems I need to change something. But it is only the seeing is different. It is seen as an happening by itself. Not the sense of ownership is questioned, right? Le sens de la propriété du I, d'être celui qui fait. C'est ça qui est observé.
Oui, du coup, ça change un peu mon point de vue, peut-être de me dire que.
It changes your point of view.
Que c'est pas forcément.
It's secondary.
Oui.
Secondary importance. The primary importance is to be what you are, and when you are what you are, then and the movie is seen as a movie, this dream, then you let it happen.
Ce que j'ai fait, ce que j'ai dit, c'est pas forcément moi, c'est pas.
It's not personal.
C'est un événement, mais c'est pas forcément.
No, it's for everyone the same. Is this what you want to say? Yes. We all, the one is always wanting to change something. It's the nature of the mind. The grass is greener on the other side, always. So it's the nature of the one to you want more different, something else. It's nature. You cannot change the nature of the one. But you can realize what you are as zero.
J'ai quand même des choses, moi j'ai quand même envie de changer des choses en moi, dans
change something
habitudes ou mes façons de faire, d'agir.
But why not? Why not? But the primary importance is be what you are and let the one having some preference. What you are does not have preference of you, of the one having preference or not. So let the one having preference, why not? But what you are has no preference. That the one has or no preference. That the I is present or absent. No, let the movie happen. The trouble is the identification with the actor, the I. And to be limited, what you are is a totality of consciousness, and you believe to be only that small end. That's all. But it was purposely done that the movie seems really real. So I am this little body shit factory called Frank, like me. But then when you question it, you might realize that you are that from where Frank came out, this person. You're the substratum. Some people call it the totality of consciousness, or the self, or the Buddha nature, or that. So you are not only that, you are that also in appearance, but you are prior to that. Prior is a pointer, right? It's not, because prior you can say, oh, prior, there is no prior in eternity, right? But prior is a pointer.
Yeah.
But if you stick with words, because yesterday I was with a guy who was all these many questions about, he had so much knowledge. But then at the end I told him, if you stick with words, it will not work. Then you can read all the book on Buddhism, Advaita and this, and you stay with the words, but you don't get the juice. So you want the juice or stick with the words? And you are the juice. And by making it so complicated, you lose your own juice. It's very simple, very simple. When it is seen like that, That's why Jesus said the kingdom of God is not for the rich people. Rich because it means rich in notions, understanding, and this. So they cannot enter the kingdom which is as a needle. So when you have no mind, then you are that. But you don't mind having a mind because it is seen as whatever. But yes, no teacher. I don't feel myself as a teacher. It may be perceived on the surface, but I've been in that kind of business. But no, there is no difference. Only on the surface. I agree on the surface it may appear, but it's not real. It's an appearance.
At least you could say you've been around the corner someone else hasn't.
Huh?
You've already been around the corner to see what's next. You know, this makes sense.
Yes, I've seen from others, and I don't know what happened in past life also. When you have seen it, you say no, because you see many teachers, masters fall down because of this. Many, whatever it is, ego, power, money, sex, or whatever it is. Because why? Because when you have to pretend to be someone, you have to keep a face in front of the public or others. But when you don't pretend to be anything, you don't mind, you don't pretend anything, and you don't mind doing mistake even. That is the difference. So
C'est bizarre parce que j'ai l'impression que ça d'être venu, ça me simplifie les choses, mais que ça me complique aussi en même temps.
yes,
Parce que ça change, mais
yes. So he said to come, that I came here, it seemed to simplify on one side, but to complicate on the other side.
Oh.
So what are the two sides? 0 and 1. The 0 recognizing itself somehow, then it's seen as simple. But for the one who like complicated things, it's challenging now.
oui, parce que j'ai envie de tout comprendre.
Yes, the one want to grasp everything and to understand. So you think, oh, I don't like this simplicity.
Je fasse la synthèse ce soir, ça va être compliqué.
It will not be able.
Oui.
Just you can only be what you are. The mind will never be able to grasp it. But let the mind be crazy. It will
Après la
not
soupe,
affect
ça
you.
sera bon. Après la soupe, c'est bon, c'est vrai. Oui.
Don't mind the mind. Easy. So I don't put fixed time, but it can be 1.5 hours, 2 hours. But we're gonna stop if you are good, or if you have any question or something. I'm still here. Anything else?
No, I don't have any.
No answers?
No answer, but I feel good because before I asked you, I kept getting sleepy, and after I asked you, I feel really good. So some vasana came up.
That's why.
Yeah, that's not a question. We're just reporting back. Yes, it was a vasana.
Yes, to bring it back, and the peacock came, and you see. So it was very nice.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
I took some photos. I don't know if it's okay because it was with contre-jour.
You took a picture.
No, it's not good at all. It's completely dark.
So,
But it is always.
otherwise, something else about anything from the beginning that you to clarify something.
Voilà, oui, mais ce sera en français du coup. Alors,
No, you
ça,
can
ça
ask
va.
in French.
Oui, mais Si tu parles en anglais, du coup, c'est vrai que je comprends pas forcément.
Or for the more complicated stuff, you can keep it for Sunday French Satyam.
Yes,
If you come.
I come, yes, I come Sunday, yes.
French. It will be only Frenchies.
Yes.
Or maybe some...
No, that's okay. You can do it all in French.
yeah, I would do it in French. No, but if somebody come, it's in French. If somebody come is not speaking French, you can ask a question. Also, it's not like so square, but mainly in French. But if somebody want to come and sit and have a question, it's fine too.
And take a bath of French people.
Yeah.
Or want to learn French. Yes. So I make maybe we continue or not, but I will stop.
It